Hello, lovely people from another Kubefirst Live. And now you may be wondering, like, what happened? You had a live stream last week, and now you have one this week. Like, we're back to normal schedule. So last week was one postponed because of holidays in the US. We thought it was just easier to postpone the last live stream to last week, which was supposed to be 2 weeks before. But now, I'm talking. Nobody cares. We're just happy to be here. I hope you're just happy for us to be here. And today we have a very cool topic. We're going to talk about Argo Workflows. There's a lot of chances that Argo CD, even if you don't use it. But Argo Workflows, it's probably a little less known. And I'm really happy that we are talking about it today because we use Argo Workflow within the Kubefirst platform. I know a little bit about it, but I'm using some of our workflows to manage your documentations because, dog fooding. But at the same time, there are some workflows that I want to extend. So I thought that today's topic would be a great topic for me because it's really about taking the ownership of Argo Workflows. So John's with me. How is life, John?
Life is good, Fred. Thanks for asking. I'm excited to get into some Argo Workflows today too. It's one of our favorite pieces of tech. Cloud native, workflows and cloud native CI. It goes way beyond CI. We're going to show a little bit about how it works with CI today. But it's got machine learning ecosystems that are surrounding it. It's got, data warehousing ecosystems and whatever. So there's all kinds of great uses for Argo Workflows, and excited to just kind of show a little bit about with the Kubefirst platform. we try real hard to be as opinion free as we can while still giving you a usable, operational, ready to go, production ready environment. But that doesn't mean that you don't have stuff to do. And we were hoping, through what we're going to show in the live stream today, some of those examples of ways that you can customize your Argo workflows and get sort of our example ecosystem and start to take it over. Excited to get into it.
Pretty cool topic. And just before we jump right in, we have our man, Jairo, who joined the live stream. So, hey, you know what? Thanks for being here. And thanks for all the good work you're working on. People, you're going to see soon all the hard work from Jairo. Hopefully in 2024, it's going in that direction. But that's going to be a pretty awesome piece of software. And talking about our man, Halek, who is saying good morning. Halek is an amazing contributor. He helps us. He create issues. He share features, ideas he had. And Alec, let me tell you that big ass issues about the docs with a lot of things you put in it. I'm going through it right now. So I update a lot of great things in the documentation, and I still have one big piece that I'm working on right now. Should be there really soon. Thanks again for all the feedback. Always great feedback, help us to improve our product, but also the documentation, which from my point of view is quite important. So on that note, Jairo sending us some love, Ido sending us some love, and Alec is just like, yay, let's go. So
yeah, let's do it. Let's get into it. That's going to be a fun one.
That's a good call to action. So I guess I'm leaving the mic to John, who's going to talk a little more about Argo's workflow.
All right. Yeah. Again, I feel like I gave a quick TLDR a second ago. I'm not going to bore you with that. Right here, what we're looking at on my screen is the conclusion of Kubefirst install that we did just a moment ago. This is running off of latest main, so a little bit bleeding edge. I hope it's going to go well today. I think it will. When you finish the creation of your management cluster, you're going to get a screen like this that gives you the password to your KBot administrator account, the initial administrator account for your platform. And then you just hit this Open Kubefirst console, and it's going to drop you into cluster management. And one of the first things that we wanted to sort of talk to you guys about is we sort of have to start out with some opinions to help you understand the way the platform works. but they might not be your opinions. And the entire foundation of the Kubefirst platform is that you're able to change those opinions and make them your own. So one of the first things that you might want to change is what you consider the environments to be, or what you consider the clusters to be that you want in your ecosystem. We start you out in your management cluster. As of 2.3, we'll start you out with a virtual cluster that represents your development, staging, production environment. Those are vCluster clusters that run inside your management cluster. But in your organization, maybe you don't even have a staging environment, or maybe you have 4 environments for all we know. And you should feel like you're completely empowered to make changes to the way that our example CI works and the way that our Argo cluster workflow templates work, so that they're tailored to your organization's needs.
But as a side note, you probably should have a staging environment. That's kind of like good practice, but you get the gist of what John was saying. It's just like me. I was like, yeah, you should have one.
we do start you out with some pretty decent opinions. I do agree that a staging environment is super valuable. Some people like to live on the edge. Some people only have a single developer working at their entire company because they're getting something off the ground, and maybe the staging environment is just a little bit too much. So let's go through the process of getting rid of this staging environment, getting rid of this staging cluster. But before we do, I have the feeling we might need to look at stuff today, because we're going to be getting into the weeds. So the first thing I want to do, just real quick, is install Datadog, just so that we have good visibility on anything that we need good visibility on. So I'm going to go to the GitOps catalog here and just click install on Datadog. They need a couple secrets. I'm going to bring up, I have a couple shortcuts here, DD API key, and I'll paste that there. And I also need a DD app key. And both of those secrets, if you were to create a brand new Datadog account, the very first thing that you'll do is get those 2 keys. So when I click add there, boom, that's just going to add some stuff to my GitOps repository so that there's a Datadog agent running in this cluster. But I'm going to go a little bit further than just the default Datadog installation. I'm going to hop into my, I'm going to go to services, GitOps here. And this is the GitOps repository that you receive when you do a Kubefirst installation. As you can see, this thing was created just 1 hour ago. This whole cluster, everything that you see here, is exactly what you'll be receiving. And I'm going to go to my registry and clusters management components. No, sorry, let me back up to Datadog agent, which is what we just added now. And there's some comments in here that are really valuable when you are trying to turn features on in Datadog. We don't want to be overbearing with the default installation, but we do give you some guides that we think will be rather helpful to you. So I'm going to go ahead and uncomment. They're not going to let me do that in the browser editor, so you're going to bear with me for just a sec while they will let me do that probably. So let's go. Thanks, Fred. And I'll call that management. And I'll call that management.
I thought we're done.
No, we are done. Thank you. So I'm going to commit this and say adding Datadog features. And I have my Datadog up right now, but as you can see, I only have this one cluster in here, which is our management cluster for our own infrastructure. It's frankly none of your business. And in a second, that agent is going to wake up, register itself with Datadog, and then we'll see a new cluster name in here in a little bit, just in case we ever have to look at anything there. So Let's start out by getting rid of this staging environment. The first thing that I'm going to do is in the Kubefirst console in cluster management, I'm going to start by clicking this staging cluster here and just delete the cluster. Now, I wish that I could say that that's the only thing that we have to do, and maybe in a future release, that will be the only thing that we have to do. But for now, we have a few more things that we're going to have to mess with, because when we deliver a Kubefirst environment, we deliver not just a dev staging production V cluster, but we also have this metaphor application that's just like a sample application that shows how GitOps works and how delivery works in the GitOps ecosystem. And that metaphor environment is configured to deliver metaphor to development, staging, and production. So let's, in fact, let's go back to, I'm going to get rid of this screen. I don't need that anymore. And let's go into services. And I'm going to go to metaphor. And in the metaphor repository, which is also a repo that we give you when you do a Kubefirst install, there's a couple directories in here that drive all of the the continuous integration. The first thing that I'm going to call out is this happens to be a GitHub installation that I did. If you did a GitLab installation, all of the same mechanics would be available, just not in GitHub Workflows. It would instead be in a .gitlab CI YAML file down here. But for today, we're in a GitHub stack, so we're only going to be messing with these. And then the other directory that I'm going to call out is this .argo folder. Whenever we do workflows in GitHub, we're always calling workflows that are in this Argo directory here. So let's remove the, let's go to the GitHub workflow. There's a main YAML, and this main YAML has, you can see that it runs whenever the main branch is pushed to. So basically whenever a pull request gets merged. And then it'll go through a publish operation and then sequentially deliver to development, staging, and production. But we just got rid of this staging environment. So let's click edit here and go down to staging.
And John, while you're doing that, if you want to learn more about like how we integrated the Argo workflow with GitHub Action or GitLab CI, we also did a live stream. I think it's a couple of months ago now. You can go check on our YouTube channel, and we're not going to take that time today, like John quickly highlighted. But like if you really want to understand like how we did the integration and the benefit out of it, there is a live stream for that. So just go on our YouTube channel and let's get back to the regular program now.
100%. Thank you, Fred. So, so I got rid of the staging job. It's important to note that the release job at the very end was depending on staging, and that no longer exists because I just got rid of it. So I'm going to change that back to development. And now it's happy, and I can commit this change and say removing staging from GitHub Action. Boop. All right, and that gets rid of it from metaphor. And the push that we just did to the main branch is actually going to start a new Argo workflows. Well, first it's going to start out as a GitHub Action pipeline. But as I just mentioned, that GitHub Action is just invoking Argo workflows. So the very next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, let's hop into Argo workflows itself. So let me log in. And we can see that we have this Metaphor publish job that's kicked off. And this is sort of how CI works on the Kubefirst platform, is like whenever a job kicks off, it's a GitHub action so that your developers get that nice, rich developer experience. But all the work is being conducted in Argo Workflows here. If you click Argo Workflows, each one of these circles that they're showing you is an individual step or container in your workflow. So forgive me for jumping around, but if we hop back into Metaphor and look at the Argo workflow for a published job, you can see that this thing basically it will call some templates that we have to do a published container, check out it'll get the initial chart version, set the chart version, and then publish the Helm chart. And then these functions that we're calling here are some cluster workflow templates, or CWFTs, that we deliver with a Kubefirst platform. And we're going to mess around with those a little bit and show you kind of how you can make those workflows your own. So we have a pipeline kicking off. I'm not going to bore you with staring at it. Let's start messing around. We'll check back in on this in just a second. But let's jump into the CWFTs. So if we go to your GitOps repository, there's going to be in your registry of your cluster management, or whatever you named your management cluster when you created the platform. There's going to be a components folder and then an Argo Workflows folder. And then we have this folder in here that belongs to Argo Workflows called CWFTs. And the CWFTs has some basic functionality to let you do stuff that we know that you're going to need to do. We know you're going to need to publish containers. You're going to have to build containers. You're going to have to publish Helm charts. You're going to have to do version management stuff with Helm charts. You're going to have to clone repositories. You're going to have to commit back to repositories. And so we start you out with sort of an MVP of like the minimal scripting that you would need to be able to build and ship applications to dev stage prod in a GitOps ecosystem. But these functions are yours. They don't belong to Kubefirst. They belong to you. And whatever you need your workflows to do for your organization is what these libraries of functions should consist of. And we'll start you out with some great opinions, but you're free to take them and run with it. So one of the first things you might want to do, we don't start you out in Argo Workflows. All of our cluster workflow templates have default settings for resource utilization. And by default, Argo Workflows is a little bit careful about how many resources they'll let you consume. And by default, I believe it's 1 CPU that you get and like 200 megs of memory. Don't quote me on that. They have it documented well. I should have looked up before I hopped into a live stream to talk about them. But in any event, you know, the default values are a little bit lightweight. And we keep it that way because we don't know what the infrastructure sizing is of the clusters that you're going to create. So we're just staying on the defaults with the workflow templates that we're giving you, but you don't have to stay there. So one of the things that you might want to do is add some different limits on a particular container, like one that you need to build, because builds are notoriously a little bit CPU intensive. They can also be very IO intensive. So in any event, let's hop in here, and in order to change the resource on this Canico container here, pull that and paste back. That goes right there. So you can just drop resources and set your requests and set your limits on the container of any of the templates that we provide to you. Or if you create your own templates, just know that if you want to override the defaults so that you can give a little bit more elbow room to one of your more high octane processes, it's very easy to do. You just drop those in on the container layer. adding new limits. And once you make a change, this is an important detail. Anytime you make a change to the CWFTs, it's not instant because of GitOps. GitOps runs on a poll. It checks about every 2-3 minutes, and then it pulls that change in. If you want to be proactive and make sure that that syncs, all you have to do is hop into your Argo CD. And there's an application.
And there's no application.
Right. There's an application that you can just type CWFT for cluster workflow templates. And if I hit refresh there, we'll see that Kaneko is about to get an update. I must have already gotten the update. I'm too late to the party. It's already there. So in any event, that's all you would have to do in order to sync a change. Now that that change has been synced, let's take a look at how Argo Workflows itself actually works. So if we go to Argo Workflows here and just drop back to the main page, this top level view has all of the jobs that you've been running that haven't been garbage collected. You can set the rules for how your pods that get created or how your jobs that get created garbage collect. So again, the Argo Workflows docs are very well put together, and we'll guide you through that. There's also an archiving mechanism. If you want to set up like a Postgres database or something, you can change the configuration to leverage a backend database, and you can garbage collect these from the screen while keeping them in an archive for a certain period of time, which, you know, if you want to have historical reference to your stuff, then maybe that's a good idea for your organization. But yeah, back to workflows here. If you want to just like start messing around with workflows and seeing how workflows works, the best thing you can do is practice. And one of the greatest ways to practice is this button up here, the Submit New Workflow button. Now, when we give you the Kubefirst platform, we're going to give you these cluster workflow templates like CWFT Git and whatever else. But then you can also create templates, which are namespace and not cluster scoped. And if you were to create those in the Argo namespace, then they would show up here as workflow templates that you could select and just like invoke from the user interface. If that's valuable to you at all, we don't use that internally ourselves, but I can see how that would be useful to a bunch of folks. You can also just kind of start from some examples that they give you. So when I click that link, they give you this example. This is using a Argo container here. And really all this thing does is whatever you say to it, it'll say back to you. So if I hit create here, we can see what it looks like, and it automatically named this one Sparkly Bear. And we can see that the phase is pending, the container's starting up, it's about to invoke, and you can hit logs here. And as soon as it is fully started, it comes back and says, hello, Argo, because that's the message that the user interface sent to it. Wow, that was a nice round of applause. So that's all you have to do to invoke a workflow in Argo Workflows, just directly in the user interface. And as you're starting to mess with making changes to your workflows, skipping the whole dichotomy of making a change to your CWFT and then pushing that up and then syncing it, and then making a change to your workflow and pushing that up and syncing it, and then getting the two to work together. That can be like a 2-minute cycle on every iteration that you want to do. And maybe you just need that to be like a 1-second cycle so that you can iterate until you get it right. And using this user interface is a really nice way to do that. But once you have the workflow working the way that you want it, you can take that content, let's grab that right there, and you can move that from something that was just like a standalone workflow that we threw at Argo Workflows, and you can move it into our CWFT libraries so that you can invoke it in a repeatable way. So I'm going to show you how that works. So I'm going to copy this content, just lock, stock, and barrel. In fact, I shouldn't even do that. I know exactly what I'm going to grab. It's this section here under templates. This template here is the portion that goes into a CWFT. So let's pull up the GitOps repository and go back to our CWFTs here. I'm going to grab a Git one, or I could really grab any of these, just so that I have a nice starting point for the scaffolding. Now I'm going to go back here and create a new file. We're going to call this demo. .yaml. It's very important that you remember the .yaml extension because Argo CD does not react to anything that doesn't have that extension. So I'm going to paste that in here, and then I'm going to get rid of almost all of it. I'm going to go right down to under templates and delete everything. I'm going to change the CWFT name to CWFT demo. And let's go back to workflows and grab that content and paste it back under templates. Ta-da, not too bad. And when I commit that change, hang on, let me make sure I'm doing everything correct. So we are calling it CWFT demo. It's on the same sync waves as all the other CWFTs. We're giving it a name of Argo Say. We're accepting a message. And that is everything that we need. So, sorry, go ahead, Fred.
John, when you say it's important to remember the extension, is it because I have the bad habit of creating YAML file that are without the A, like YML? Is it still gonna pick those up?
That's a good question. I always keep the A in my YAML extensions. I bet that YML would also be honored because that is a known convention for the YAML format. But I can't promise that.
Yeah. Anyway, I need to get rid of that habit. Like
I know.
I know. YAML.
Yeah, that's old Ansible conventions. Don't do that. So now we have this, oh, I called it demo. I should have called it CWFT demo to be in alignment with my other conventions. That's not important, but it's important to me. CWFT-demo instead. Commit, rename. Okay, and let's go to Argo Workflows and sync that. And just like that, it recognizes the new file. And then just like that, it's going to add it to the library of stuff that's in Argo Workflows. And let's see over here if it's in our cluster workflows. And it is. We have this new CWFT demo. It was created 15 seconds ago. And it's got a function in it called Argo Say. So let's go to our publish pipeline, for example, back in the metaphor repository, and add a call to Argo Say so that we can make changes to the pipeline that Kubefirst delivered to us. So to do that, I'm going to drop into my Argo here, and right up top here, the way that workflows work is you've got this template section, and you have to give it a name, and then you entry point to that name, and that's how it knows where to start. And from that point forward, it's just a DAG. But there's some cool shortcuts that they give you in the way that they implement it so that you have a nice, easy syntax. And you'll see in our Argo workflows that we regularly have these double dashes in our steps. And what that means is anything with a double dash is going to execute in sequence. And a lot of times when you're doing CI pipeline oriented work, it's important to have that sequencing. And this is a nice, easy DAG-free shortcut to allow you to sequence your steps so that they wait for each other to finish before the next one proceeds. If instead those were single hyphens, they would run in parallel with each other. So that's an important detail to note when you're starting to mess with CWFTs for the first, or Argo workflows for the first time.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know about that. Like, to be honest, those were triggering me I was like, it totally was like a mistake or something, and it was like, that's super annoying. And like my OCPD doesn't like those like two hyphens next to each other. I was like,
Right.
no, that's not YAML. Like, remove that.
Right. So, so I'm going to grab one of these steps just so that I have a good template to follow. And I'm going to drop that as the very first step. We're going to call this Argo, say, and we're going to call CWFT demo, which is our new library. And our template was called Argo, say. And if we look back at the details, it wants a input parameter called message. So let's give it an argument parameter called message. And let's spit back the application name back at us. We'll just say like, I don't know, hello from, and then whatever the app name is. So when I commit this change, this is going to be the first ever invocation from a CI pipeline of a new CWFT template that we just grabbed a copy from Argo Workflows and stashed it in our library. But I want you to use your imagination for a second and just imagine that like that script that currently is just going to come back and say, you know, hello from Metaphor. That step doesn't have to be just some, you know, useless step. It could be any number of things. You might want to send yourself a Slack message at the start of a job. You might want to drop a marker inside your observability tool that says that a job has started. You may want to, I don't know, there's all kinds of things that you might want to do in pipelines. And those are all things that while we encourage you to do them, we don't want to do them for you because this is your platform and every company is going to be different in what they want out of their CI pipelines. But we are establishing an ecosystem where you can start from a great starting point and build out whatever else it is that you want for your organization. And if you find something that you're building in Argo Workflows that you think the rest of our community would benefit from, we absolutely would be interested in getting contributions from the user community for valuable things that you're hooking into the ecosystem, and I'm sure the rest of the community would really appreciate that as well. So let me go back up here, and it looks like this thing is about to. Looks like this is doing. Oh, it already did it long ago. Hello from Metaphor. This was an invocation of this Argo say job here. And let's just take a quick peek since we went through the trouble anyway. I'm going to grab this Metaphor publish right here. And I'm going to go back to Datadog. And I mentioned at the start of this live stream that we only had this one cluster in here. But when I refresh, now we have two of them because we added the Datadog through the GitOps catalog and updated the cluster name to management. And so it's registering now as management in Datadog. And if you click just that management cluster, you can click just Argo here. And you can get a view of any jobs that are actively running right now. So if we take a look at this Metaphor publish job, you can see the amount of CPU that it's using and memory that it's using. You can get log output and all kinds of cool stuff. Up here, it'll drop you also into the, if you turn on process monitoring, you can dig into the individual processes of what's running in that container. So if you have, you know, some problem where you're throttling on CPU or something like that, you'll be able to see like concretely what it was that was doing it, how much it wanted, you know, how hungry it was. And you can tailor your workflows to be optimized for the jobs that your CI has to do. Now, I'm not going to dig into Datadog too terribly deeply, but I thought that that was really important to call out because when you're building a Kubernetes native CI ecosystem, you've just got all these containers running all over the place because you're able to build these tiny little building block pieces of how you want to do stuff. And optimizing those containers to be exactly what you need and not throttling when you're doing build operations and stuff like that can be a little bit challenging and requires a lot of guesswork when you don't have a decent amount of observability. And I just thought that the Datadog integration with Argo Workflows on the Kubefirst platform is a nice, easy way to get down to the bottom of those clutch details. So in any event, we got our hello from Metaphor. We've now invoked a template that we've added to the library of functions that are available on your new Kubefirst platform. And you can invoke it not just from Metaphor, but you can invoke it from all of your other repositories that you add to the Kubefirst platform. But this is just editing an already created published pipeline that comes with the system. But maybe you need more pipelines than just a delivery pipeline that goes dev stage prod. Well, not stage anymore, we got rid of that. But maybe what you want is something that could kick off when a pull request opens is a very common thing, right? Like you want to run some unit tests, you want to run some linting, you want to maybe build out a new K3D environment and do some internal end-to-end tests. It could be anything. And again, we don't want to be too opinionated about any of that stuff, but it is very, very easy to add. So let's walk through that process just a little bit. The first thing that I'm going to want to do for that demo is we're going to want to create a new job in, excuse me, in CWFT demo here. And I'm going to cheat and grab it from my notes. And this job is going to be a job that can do a yarn lint operation that's specific for the Metaphor application. The Metaphor application does indeed build on Yarn, and the jobs that we execute are Yarn-oriented executions. So I'm going to grab this and move it. Is that the right? I think that's right. Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to add this lint job. Basically, all this lint job is doing is it's saying, I want to receive the source code. There's this repo source artifact that we pass around from container to container. And that's got the source code from the repository. And then you can do things like build it and then take the output from that build and ship it down to the next step in your CI. So we're going to receive that input because we need the source code in order to run a lint command against it. And we're also going to receive the parameter of this app name. Actually, we don't really need that app name. So I'm going to actually, I should keep, we are using it right here, the working directory. So this runs on the image of node latest. You can, another important thing to call out, our examples kind of have examples of all types of different images. We have some scripting that shows how you would script in Python. We have some scripting that shows how you would script in Golang. We have some Ubuntu images that we use. And you can pick any image that you want under the sun to be the starting point for how you run that individual step of your CI pipeline. And that can be really valuable for folks to be able to shift from Python to Bash to back to Python, and then switch over to a node image because you have to do a build, things like that. So know that messing with that image gives you a really nice fast starting point for that foundational layer. And another thing that I want to just mention is that by creating these small containers that just have only the things that you need in order to conduct a building block step, you're also significantly reducing the surface area of what has access to your secrets and what it is that you're defending against as a DevOps engineer responsible for a CI ecosystem. So anyway, I'm going to commit this. I'm talking too much. I'm going to commit this, and then let's sync that back up one more time. Uh-oh, what is this error? I messed something up. Let's go back. I know.
What was the error?
It's complaining. It was a unmarshal error, which means my YAML is wrong. Sorry, where is that? Yeah, it was a failed to unmarshal CWFT demo.yaml. What did? It's this inputs is too far. YAML problems. So let me go down to there and pull that just back a little bit, and that should give us a better go at things.
Oh, it's when you remove the app name, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. So let me sync that back up one more time. Refresh.
Funny thing is that I'm going pretty crazy when I indent my code, and YAML is so intense about it that that was annoying me when I started to use YAML. So it's kind of like a weird thing.
Yep, definitely. So the last thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat one more time and just copy in a new pipeline to GitHub Actions. So we're going to go to Metaphor and back up to GitHub, and we're going to create a new file here called lint.yaml. And I'm going to paste this in, but I will review it with you. Almost all of this stuff is identical to what we stole from the main.yaml here. The things that we changed is the trigger. So where in main, let me bring that up also. So the main one triggers when the main branch is pushed to. This new job that we're creating here, we're going to say run against every branch except main. And that'll be enough so that when you submit a pull request, it runs the execution against that branch, and then you'll get the feedback into your pull request. So, and then here, this lint job is also different from what it was in the other one. Instead of invoking a Argo publish job, we want this to invoke a Argo lint YAML, and we haven't created an Argo lint YAML. So let me do that real quick. I'm going to, let me start from publish, I suppose, and create a new, I guess I have to do it from here. I shouldn't be coding so much in the web IDE. It's a little painful. So
yeah, I was going to say, like the previous file that you modify and you didn't commit, it would still be there?
Yeah, because it's on a different, did I change tabs? I'm not sure. I'm getting lost. So, yeah. We'll figure it out. So we're going to invoke, wait, sorry, this is the GitHub action content. I've got bad notes. Give me one quick second. Bear with me. Can I get some elevator music, Fred?
There's even Jairo who say, "Oh, Fred, your music reactions are amazing." Thank you, Jairo. I agree. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna have to do this the hard way, Fred. I don't have my notes, so we're gonna have to go from the ground up. So I'm gonna grab from here. The entry point will be main. I'm not gonna invoke Argo say. I'm going to actually let me grab from publish, because publish has to start with a checkout. Yeah, I'll start from this one, and then we're gonna call lint instead of get initial chart version. So I'm gonna copy that, and then we'll create a new Argo workflow called lint. And lint YAML is going to still checkout. And then after checkout, we're not going to call CWFT Helm. We're going to call CWFT Demo. And we're going to call this lint. This was also called lint. And cluster scope is correct. We are going to pass it the repo source. But the parameters, I believe I only need an app name. If I remember that correctly, I'll double check. So demo here has lint, and lint receives an app name. That is correct. So let's commit this and see if we get lucky. We're going to create lint YAML Argo workflow. And then we should be able to invoke that Argo workflow from GitHub. So let me go back to GitHub workflows. And then we were going to create a new file here that is called lint YAML, and I did have that file, so let me grab that. So here again, we changed the branches. We're going to invoke, I have to give it a name, lint.yaml. And we're going to invoke at the bottom here, we're going to call .argo lint, which is that new file that we had just created 1 second ago. So let me commit that. And this time, instead of committing this to main like I've been doing for the whole demo, I'm going to create this one on a branch so that we can exercise whether or not this thing works. Yes. So when we propose this, we have a GitHub action job that has woken up. We might have too many jobs running. We start you out just with 2 GitHub actions. That's also adjustable. Let me go ahead and cancel some of these to clear out a little bit of space. Keep the demo rolling. Oh, come on, Zool. Don't do it to me today. give it justice.
Sometimes just refreshing the page is like, that happened to me once in a while where like GitHub does not refresh the like action, what's happening here within the action. Oh no, it's still queued. It's not your case, but yeah. Sometimes I see that, like I do a PR and I see that like my job is still waiting to be run and like the interface is not updated. But once I refresh, I see that like half of my jobs are done and the other half. So not sure if it's a like bug or specific or code hating, and it's a specific problem to me. But
so we've got these. I'm just going to have a heavy hammer here for a second. And we'll kill the GitHub runner jobs that were running for those actions that I just canceled. And then those should come right back, re-register themselves with the system, and then the job will pick right back up. Geez, die already. All right, there we go. They're coming back up. And then in theory, this thing's going to kick right back off and pick this job up. Yep, and we got it kicking off. So we're back on the rails. And then the $1 million question is this lint execution actually going to work? This is the joy of live demos, isn't it, Fred? It's more entertaining. I think it's more entertaining this way when you don't know how it's all going to go, you know. So right now, what it's doing, just to go back and take a look at the CWFT demo, this is doing two commands. The first one is a yarn install. The second one is a yarn lint. And this lint, I think if I remember correctly, this is expected to actually catch one linting error, and then we can fix that error. Provided everything runs here in a second. So I'm gonna go back to actions. Lint. Is this thing gonna go? Let's take a look at it in Argo Workflows, see what it's doing.
Can you zoom a little bit?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So it's installing now. And then in a moment, it's going to do a lint.
I think it did sort of another.
I know it's just supposed to.
Should be faster than that.
Should be way faster than that.
Let me check GitOps status.
Well, maybe not way faster. I mean, it is doing an install, and that does have to download the entire internet. So.
So while we wait for that, I have a question for people that saw more than one of our live stream. If you actually, probably the last one and any other live stream that we've done, the last one we tried the new format where I don't remember the length, but I think it was like 20 minutes or maximum 30 minutes, the last live stream that we've done. So we tried a shorter format. Now we are back to what we know best, and what we do best is like talking for like at least an hour. We feel like we always have topics that we can develop for a long time, but we also understand that it's a long live stream, like an hour, 15 minutes, an hour and a half. So we would like to get the feedback of people. Like, do you prefer like topic aside, because I know the last live stream, maybe the topic was not interesting to you, but like topic aside or interesting to the topic aside, like, do you prefer shorter live stream, or you're just a fan of like having John and I talking for hours about like technical topic? Let us know, because as much as I enjoyed the topic and the technology we discuss in those live stream, we do not do those for me. We do those for you folks. So let us know what makes more sense for you, and we will adapt.
Thank you for that, Fred. I was hoping that would kill enough airtime for this thing to wrap up, but it is just being dog slow, and it's not bound on CPU. It's not bound on anything. It just looks like it's going and building. So how many minutes has this been? It's like 4 minutes.
But I have another question though for the people again about the live stream. We talk a lot about technologies that we use within Kubefirst. We try once in a while to get guests about third-party technologies that are available in the GitOps catalog. So question about that: is there any technologies you would like to see in the GitOps catalog, and or even if you don't care about the GitOps catalog, like, is there Kubernetes related or cloud native technology that you would like us to talk about? And we would try to get someone working on that project or that product to be guest on the show. And I'm asking that because now it's kind of the time for me to plan at least 2024 Q1 live stream. And as much as I love doing the show with John and Jared, I feel like our show are even like a notch better when we have guests. And I think we're slowly starting to run out of like really specific Kubefirst topic. Like, I think since we're doing the live stream, it's been about a year now.
Yeah, I think
we're
that's
doing
right.
those live streams, so I think we cover most of like the technology we use in Kubefirst. So I think we're going to go a little more in the guest kind of way, talking about third-party technologies in the next live stream. So long question. Yeah, if there's any topic you would like us to talk about, let us know. I'm looking for suggestions. Again, Weekend has a team like define the next topic we're going to talk about. But even better if it's coming from the community and you have any preference. So let me know. Ping me or ping Kubefirst on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or even better on their Slack community. That's kind of like the place to be. Anyway, that is where the cool kids are these days, on the Kubefirst Slack community. So just join and let us know.
So Fred, I don't know. I'm getting bored staring at this screen, and I don't think that we want to bore our audience with watching us go through and debug the inner workings. But in theory, we've shown how to create a new pipeline, how to invoke a new workflow from that pipeline, how to adjust our existing pipelines, how to invoke Argo Workflows directly in the Argo Workflows user interface, how to take the templates out of that and then move it into a CWFT template so that it's a reusable function and library. And if I had an application that would just go ahead and yarn install and yarn lint, that would be a much better wrap up for the show. But this was literally the last thing that I wanted to show. So
that's fine. You know, those things happen when you do live demo, and I think people get the gist of like how to do that and how to replicate that at home. So yeah, so those things happen. As a reminder, if you want to learn a little more about like how we integrate Argo Workflows with GitHub Actions and also GitLab CI, which we touched based a little bit today, but you want to learn a little more, we've done a live stream about that topic not too long ago. And there is also in the Argo project organization on GitHub, they have the Argo Workflow GitHub repository. And within that repository, they have a directory called examples. And there is plenty of Argo Workflow examples there. So if you want to, like, obviously, you can check the ones we have in your GitOps repo if you use Kubefirst, or even check the one we have in GitOps templates. But if you want to extend your horizon and learn more about like, or see more examples of like Argo Workflows, you can go on the Argo Workflows GitHub repo. They have that examples directory, which is a great also place to start to learn more about Argo Workflows. And really, you know what, take the ownership. There's nothing better to learn than like use an existing example and just like tweak it a little bit and see what's happening. So that's a great place to start. So John, I was seeing you like trying to see what's happening during the time that I was talking, but I think we can definitely put this behind and hand that live stream with a little bit of sadness in her heart because
I wanted it so bad. I wanted it so bad, Fred. But
I know. So I think that's covered it. I think that's covered the live stream. And you know what? We need to finish the live stream like we've always done before. So this one is not a question, though. It's just a joke right away. I tried to tell a dad joke to a function, but it didn't get the reference. Yeah, I was really too slow with the So, by the way, if you have any like developer kind of like dad jokes, send them to me. I'm starting to ground low and those jokes, and it feels like I need to end the live stream with those now. It's part of like, what do we do? So if you have some, please feel free to share them with me. So on that note, I know it's December. I know it's the holidays. We'll still have one live stream left before the end of the year. So join us in 2 weeks for the last live stream of 2023. And I'm not announcing it right now because I need to confirm something with potential guests. But that's going to happen in 2 weeks. We're going to be there. Same, like I used to watch Batman when I was younger, and we're always saying like same bat time and same bat channel. So it's going to be the same YouTube channel, same time in 2 weeks. Looking forward to see everyone and get your question or comments in the live stream. And if you're watching the recording and you have any question, ask them on the YouTube video or on the Slack channel. So on that note, any last word, John?
No, I just, I will drop a comment on this YouTube channel with the detail of what it took to get that last detail ironed out. Yeah, apologies for the misstep live. I'm not sure what happened there. So, but pleasure having you as always, Fred. Yeah, for everyone else, we'll see you guys in about 2 weeks.
Awesome. See you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.